When you see the headline, you wonder whether or not a former NFL star could be the 2025 George Floyd. Now, I believe the answer is no, based on what I'm reading between the lines here, but I would not put anything past a desperate group of people trying to change the narrative in this country right now. And one of the key ways to do it, sadly, is based on race. I don't believe this is going to happen, but I won't put anything past some people. So here's the story. Former All-Pro NFL running back Doug Martin died. And what we are now learning from local police, this came late last night from the Associated Press, is that Martin died after a struggle with police officers who were taking him into custody while they were investigating a break-in at a home in Oakland, California. Now, you may recall Doug Martin. He had a standout career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was a fantasy beast early in his career. Came out of Boise State, went to play for the Buccaneers, and he was really good, especially when you go back to his first couple of seasons. 2012, 2013, 2014, and then it went downhill fairly quickly after the first maybe 4 or 5 years of his career. He was out of the league by 2019. Like a lot of running backs, sadly, kind of burned through it the first few years, and then they're done. But this guy also had dealt with some drug issues during his time in the league. He had a suspension for violating the league's drug policy, and no one had really heard from the guy in a while. And then it turns out that he died at the age of 36 here over the weekend. So he was transported by paramedics to a hospital where he passed away. A cause of death at this point has not been released, but there will be an autopsy obviously conducted. Police said in a statement that Doug Martin was involved in a break-in and that a brief struggle happened as police were attempting to detain him. The department at this point has not released any other details. Doug Martin is originally from Oakland, lived in Stockton, California. That's where he played high school football. So initially I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Yes, Doug Martin's a black man who dies in police custody in California. Now, right away, I'm like, clearly, if you read between the lines here, he's involved in a break-in. It looks like drugs are involved. And whether or not it was an overdose or something else related to the drugs that were in his system, he ends up dying in police custody. But it's sad to think that my initial reaction was, oh my goodness, I hope they don't try to George Floyd this situation. Now, I don't believe they will because, frankly, I don't think the NFL wants this. And not that the NFL can control protesters and things of that nature, but you know as well as I do, there also could be mental health issues here tied to playing football for all those years. I don't know that for certain, but we all understand the game, right? We all know how this goes. And part of the statement from Doug Martin's agent, Brian Murphy, noted here that Martin previously and privately battled mental health challenges that profoundly impacted his personal and professional life. So if this is something tied to playing in the NFL for many years, and he had injuries tied to the NFL and potentially head injuries tied to the NFL, and that may have led to an abuse of drugs, you know and I know, the NFL wants to sweep this thing right under the rug. They want no part of this. They, frankly, never have, and I don't believe they ever will. Now, they've made some changes. I'll give them credit where it's due. They've made some changes over the years to try to make the game safer. But a lot of this, too, is just kind of pay it off. Sweep it under the rug. We really don't want to talk about it. That's how it goes. But it's sad to think that you got this guy, and I really haven't seen this story get the amount of attention that I thought it might, based on the fact that you've got a former All-Pro NFL running back dying after a struggle with police officers. I have not seen it getting the attention I thought it would get. Mm-hmm. And then I connected 2 and 2, and I got to 4, which doesn't happen often, John, but once in a while I get there.
What'd you get?
I realized that the NFL is in bed with all of these television networks. Disney, ABC, Fox, obviously, Fox News, Fox Sports, NBC, Sunday Night Football, CBS, obviously, Jim Nantz, Tony Romo. You think they're going to lean into this? The NFL is effectively, basically bought off all these major broadcast outlets. They're not going to lead with this story. They're not going to hammer this story. And I find this story kind of in corners of the internet. A former all-pro NFL running back dies in police custody, and it's like a back-of-the-page story? It just doesn't add up to me, John.
No, I thought so, too. And I was telling Mark, I saw the guy passed away. Okay, Tampa Bay running back. Wow, that's early. Then later on, I saw because the Chiefs were playing the Raiders, and I didn't realize his career played for the Raiders, so we added a new story. Then we added that he was in custody. Mm-hmm. And then I've seen one place where it said that he was maybe involved with the situation there. So it's come out in little fragments real slow, it seems like, oddly enough.
It's been a drip.
Yeah.
And then as the story actually gets more interesting and there's another layer to it, it's not getting more attention. And that's the part of this that doesn't make any sense to me. The media would normally be all over this. Relatively famous black man played in the NFL, dies in police custody. This is way more compelling than George Floyd. Ask yourself why that might be. And the only conclusion I can come to is the relationship between these networks and the NFL. And they don't want the NFL to potentially get tied up in this story if it were to blow up and become a big deal. So they've decided to basically write about it. They've all got stories on their websites about it, but it's not a feature story. I mean, how long and how often can you talk about the government shutdown? It's day 21. I mean, we've talked about it plenty here on KCMO, but I can't do 4 hours on it. Sorry, not interested in that.